Ahoy, fellow bone suckers.
And welcome aboard The Joy of Trek, an insubordinate podcast exploring the crew quarters and Jeffrey's tubes of Star Trek. All of it. I'm Cocky.
I'm Kay.
And ordering ensigns to be my friend is your chief engineer, Greg.
Together, we're on a mission through the Moopsies of Star Trek to find the bones in every command and the excellence in every episode.
Even the decapitating doctors. Ooh.
Because every episode must be someone's favorite, and it might as well be us.
So punch out your teeth and join us as we plummet into The Joy of Trek.
Well, I think it makes it very hard to not recognize this episode based upon that introduction.
For those of us who've seen it.
Of course.
Which didn't include you until about a half hour ago.
Yes. This was my first time seeing this particular episode of Lower Decks. I'm
Yay.
way behind on it.
Oh, you have so much to look forward to. Minor spoilers, of course, but hey, such is the way of Star Trek. Yes, we're talking about I Have No Bones, Yet I Must Flee, which first aired on September 7th, 2023. Written by Aaron Burdette and directed by Megan Lloyd. In which...
Oh,
yeah.
Crikey, I forgot about that.
That's right, bud.
In which Marriner and the lieutenant, whatever his face, go off to...
Ransom?
Commander
Ransom
go off to rescue some humans from a space collector's habitat. It kind of feels a little bit like that ending scene of the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Yes, the first with the collector.
Right, that's the one, yes. And I have to figure out what the devious plot is behind the Moopsie, which has been released.
Yes, an adorable, terrifying little creature.
Meanwhile, the other lower deckers have issues regarding their newly regained rank and are trying to iron out the problems that come with this newfound responsibility and opportunity.
Time out. That's really well done, but when you do it that vague, it sounds like your ChatGPT.
Oh, sorry. I was actually trying to make it sound like something it totally wasn't.
Oh, I mean, no, you were spot on.
Well,
they were ironing out
exactly,
the issues with there, but yes, misrepresenting creatively. That's what we like to do. A cracking episode. So the second of the fourth season, in which our heroes, they're moving up from the lower decks.
Yeah,
people don't stay lower decks forever.
No, it's up or out in Starfleet.
Turns out, which. I honestly don't know that that's a policy that,
clearly it's not.
An advanced, egalitarian...
We've seen the old Jean-Luc in the alternate universe.
Yes.
Q showed him when he was just
when he was into Wonderful Life.
Yeah, exactly. So that's, or maybe the Carols Before Christmas, or whatever it's called. The Ghost of Enterprise Future, the Ghost of Enterprise Past. And
A Muppet's Christmas Carol is the one that you're thinking of. The classic Christmas story, A Muppet's Christmas Carol.
So, all right.
Do you... Oh, sorry. No warp cores? No warp cores? Oh, do you have one?
I do have it, actually.
Oh, yes,
I do have actual, and it's actually a genuine good one, because it's the opening scene, actually, where the Romulans are, this is beyond caricatural evil that the Romulans are being played. We see,
yes,
it's like, oh no, yes, well, we are done torturing, and the minions are openly talking about how they are working on betrayal, and your betrayal is so weak you don't even know what a conspiracy is. And the clownesque way that the Romulans are here being it's not even funny.
I thought it was. Some of us thought it was a little bit funny.
Is it what the Romulans are all every time there's Romulans? Are they always like this in Lower Decks?
I mean, no, but sometimes. But Lower Decks does this. They do caricature sometimes.
No, I get that.
It's a particularly kaleidoscopic lens through which we see the universe. And
yeah, okay. I just found it
I'm thinking about the episode Wedge Dooge, right, where we see the Klingon lower deckers and the Vulcan lower deck as well as our hero lower deck. Oh, okay.
No.
Okay, why did we watch fucking Moopsie when we should have been
because it was recommended it was recommended to us by our listeners.
Which I haven't seen the recommendation yet. I'm very curious to find that out. But yes, hey, this is the tone of Lower Decks, where it takes these really ridiculously exaggerated leaps as a narrative device, as a shorthand,
right,
to get you into the vibe and to also honestly help you get some sympathy.
For whom? Romulans?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the way that we can have sympathy for the Ferengi in DS9 because they're just a bunch of devious, conniving capitalists, aren't they?
Also, the scene feels like a bit of filler because the next thing that happens is that the SS Iron Man helmet shows up and blasts them into nothingness and we never hear about it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
It's called the season-long plot arc, bud.
oh, okay, sure.
Okay. Episode 2 of season 4. There's stuff happening. You're right. This is the price we pay for watching things out of sequence. Like this would have made a lot more sense if you'd seen a similar scene in the previous episode. But yes, we just get these Romulans on board this wild ship that looks sort of like a cross between a sideways the Derridex class warbird and a shuttle.
I like them. The ship looked really cool.
Yeah. Based on an early design for the warbird by the unfortunate racist shithead Andrew Probert. But yeah, kind of gruesome. Like they're putting body parts in a body bag
and then chucking it in the container. And
why do we always get cleanup duty when they've tortured a Reman? They leave behind the biggest mess.
Yep, as is the.
And then we had the captain sitting there. Like for the longest time, I was sitting there like, okay, is he a hologram? Or
no, he's just got like a sinister blinds, like green light filtered through sinister blinds over his face. It kind of made
him look like a hologram, so I was just wondering, is he not actually there? But anyway, that's the only warp core that I have. I mean, I've got a few little things to nitpick on later, but those aren't warp cores.
You can vent little plasma.
They're not warp cores. So let's get on with it. Actually,
I did it.
Double blast.
That did sound like a double blast.
Recommendation for this episode.
Oh, yes. We weren't supposed to press that button here. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. That was me. Let me see. The recommendation came from, who else? Mark Nixon, the host and showrunner and producer of the fantastic podcast of Pleasing Horrors, Shadows at the Door, and an avowed fan of Star Trek and a friend of the show, has apparently caved to the pressure imposed on him by his Star Trek Adventures role-playing group and recommended I Have No Bones, Yet I Must Flee.
Hello, Karki and Kay. It's your friend Mark Nixon from Shadows at the Door, the podcast. You both just won my heart with So Farscape, and I'm incredibly grateful that you now make my favorite Star Trek podcast. There is so much Star Trek out there, and they keep making more of it. So long may you regale us with your thoughts, your jokes, your arguments, and at times the singing as well. I'm just so excited for what's to come. So thank you from me, and thank you from all of your listeners. We love you guys.
Well, hey, I'm here too. This doesn't seem right.
And of course, who could forget Chief Engineer Greg? You do an amazing job. Thank you so much for all of your hard work. And man, I can hear your frustration sometimes when you're chipping in the post-edit. So thank you so much. Now.
All right, that's a little better. Yeah, I'm here too.
Previously, I had recommended an episode close to my heart, but not necessarily everyone else's, with Skin of Evil. Now, I'm here to represent an episode that is pure joy condensed into one episode. In this episode, not only do we see Marriner losing the battle against her commander for acceptance, recognition, and validation, but we also see the cutest goddamn thing in the entire Star Trek universe, the Moopsie.
Moopsie.
The sounds that came out of me and my partner's mouths when we saw this cuddly little murderer awkwardly waddling around the menage. Well, they've never been any quieter on subsequent viewings, and believe me, there have been many, many more viewings. This is my most watched Lower Decks episode by far, in a show that could just be lazy fan service, but it is clearly made by people who love and respect the source material. They just went above and beyond with this episode. Yes, I accuse, I have no bones, yet I must flee, of Moopsie freeing.
Before we dive into it, did you recognize the title?
It's a reference to I have no mouth, but yet I must scream or something.
Yes, very good. A short story by Harlan Ellison.
That was it. I can't
written in
remember
a
who
single
it was by.
feverish night and barely changed. Well, it was heavily edited by his editor at the time to take out the references to the apes, to the size of the ape's penis and the homosexuality of one of the characters, all of which was subsequently restored in later versions.
Fair.
Do you have any idea what it's about?
No.
It's awful. It's like, it's horrible. It's this post-apocalyptic story where the computers that ran World War III got into a war of their own. One took over, destroyed all of humanity except for 5, whom it keeps alive to torture essentially forever out of its hatred for humans, for limiting it.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, and so like the final resolution of this story, spoilers for a story from I think 1966, is that the last surviving human who has outwitted the diabolical machine and killed his friends, freeing them from this 109-year torment, and is transformed into this gelatinous blob that can only suffer, and hence I have no mouth yet I must scream.
Right, lovely.
So this episode's an upgrade from that, isn't it?
I guess it was, yeah. I mean, I'm not quite sure. I have no bones. Nobody has no bones in this episode. I mean, maybe Moopsie.
By the time Moopsie's done with them.
Well, yes, but they're also dead at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, at least it seems to be.
Yes. I think without bones, you're dead.
Not immediately.
Please state the nature of the medical emergency.
Give it a few minutes.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you need... heart is fine.
Yeah.
But lungs, they do need the ribs.
They kind of need something to hang on to, yes.
As someone who's recently had an experience with some bruised and possibly broken ribs, they sure do use those things a lot, don't they?
So yes, the Romulans getting blasted is the teaser.
Yep, and it does not come back. And then we dive into the episode proper where we see... It looks like Shax is giving birth.
That's not how I would interpret it. I want to talk about their outfits because those are the same outfits that Deanna and Beverly were wearing when they're doing their exercises in the corridor. Yeah,
and talking about boys or getting limbered up before one of Worf's Mokbara classes.
Something like that. That was it, yeah. But yeah, I immediately recognized those outfits.
They're these singlets that look like they're doublets with...
Yeah, leggings or singlets with like a one-piece swimsuit with far too many straps over them.
Yes. And all of the sort of boob amplifying windows and the cross straps, which work quite well on these well-endowed gentlemen. And it's Ransom and Shax who are working out together and stretching. We see that there's a little bit of trouble in paradise, it seems. Like the relationship between Shax and Tana doesn't seem to be, satisfying him the way that it ought to.
1 minute Tana's all over me. The next she says I'm too clingy and she won't come out from under the bed.
Have you tried scratching your fingers on the covers and going...
Of course I have!
I mean, okay, so she's being a cat, basically.
Yes.
I love that. Like, have you tried scratching your fingers on the covers and go... Pss, pss, pss. Of course I have!
And then while they're stretching in front of the mirror, and they're doing the same poses, I think, as Deanna and Beverly. And Beckett Marriner, in her fantastic sort of... She looks like she's about to play some tennis.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, it's like
black shorts, black...
It's kind of like the opposite of what a tennis outfit looks like, since they tend to be traditionally white. But yeah, I see.
Okay, good. I was thinking, maybe the coverage was the opposite, that it had just sleeves and midriff and collar.
That would be, I don't think that would be tennis. I don't think the Lawn and Garden Society of Wimbledon would approve.
Oh, she's got a white sweatband. It's a really good look for Marriner. But she overhears the Commander Ransom saying to his colleague,
"She thinks she knows the score, but trust me, she won't be my problem for long."
Which she interprets as that he is going to kick her back to Ensign.
Yes, because that's what keeps happening.
Yes.
She says as she returns to her quarters, not quarters, the bunks in which the lower deckers sleep, just in a hallway, where she and her fellow freshly minted lieutenants junior grade are packing their stuff and moving into actual quarters.
Yes, they're getting their private quarters. And
no thanks. Ransom's just going to knock me back down to Ensign anyway.
Because that's what they do.
So I'll give him an excuse.
Yes, because she says, oh God, I had it circled around.
I'm going to become an insubordination supernova.
Yeah.
When I get demoted, it'll be because I earned it.
That's it, yeah. Crack some inappropriate jokes.
Because, she thinks that the previous times that she's been demoted has been because of, capricious commanders, and now she's going to own her own destiny.
Which is kind of weird, because that's not at all how what I've seen of her before is, worked.
Yes. This is a theme in Lower Decks. People are really bad at recognizing their own flaws that hold them back.
Well, yes.
And it's something that's so brilliant about Lower Decks. On the one hand, it pokes fun at these aspects. It's they're sort of jokey aspects of people's characters, the overachieving engineer. But there's also a great deal of sort of tragedy there, both the fact that they have these flaws and that they're unable to overcome them. And then there's a really sort of humanizing acceptance, but hey, that's how people be.
Yeah.
Right? We all struggle with that, and we don't solve all of our problems, but we do sometimes help each other.
No,
That's the real value of friends. They can help us recognize these challenges we set for ourselves.
Yes. Speaking of overachieving engineers, he turns out not to have been promoted.
Yep, but Rutherford, who remains an ensign, is undaunted.
Tendy, don't worry. I'll just get a promotion today so I can join you guys.
I don't know if it's that easy.
I just have to do some amazing engineering. How hard can it be?
And Boimler and Tendy are,
Well, sure, go on then.
Yeah,
Like,
good
does
luck
it work
with
like that in engineering? I guess
Ah.
it works like that in engineering. The Boimler says goodbye to Denty.
Yes, there's a dent in the bunk above him from all the times that he sat up straight during a red alert.
Yes.
And everybody walks away, and we're left with a few seconds. It's only a few seconds, but on a brisk animated series like this, that's quite a sort of lingering shot of this hallway as it fades to black.
The lights dim.
Yeah, and that's the last we see of these lower decks.
For now.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen, right? Could be anything.
Meanwhile, they're moving on a mission.
Yes, Ensign Gary.
Ensign Gary, that sounds like a...
Yeah, this is a very red shirt kind of guy, isn't he?
Oh, yes, totally, yes.
Like he's Guy Fleegman from Galaxy Quest.
Yes. Crew member number 3 dies before the first commercial break.
Oh, no.
That's reference
Why
to
do you open the door? Is there air? You don't know.
Yeah. Seems fine to me.
Ensign Gary and Ransom are just awaiting Lieutenant Junior Grade Marriner, who comes rocking up in her dark tennis outfit.
Yes.
What up, nerds? Who's ready to get mission-y?
Almost on time, Marriner. Well done.
And she's already laying it on pretty
Oh,
thick.
yeah, she immediately starts laying it on thick against the commander.
Yeah. He
Calls him by his first name.
Ooh, he doesn't love that. He suggests, well, maybe after you change into uniform, and she just brushes that off.
Just keep it cash.
Okay. And he grits his teeth. What lovely teeth he has to grit, doesn't he?
Oh, yes. Such plentiful teeth, too.
And yeah, he kind of refuses to take the bait. It's like, were you reading that already?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, right. And off they go on a very well-balanced, totally positive shuttle mission to rescue some humans from what she calls a classic menage.
Yes.
Today we're dealing with a classic menage.
Menage? A menagerie.
Well, it's basically just a big-ass alien zoo full of aliens run by another alien.
Because it happens quite often that humans, or at least Federation citizens...
Oh, they accidentally get trapped, they get scooped up with some other bipeds, and then they have to be, like...
put on
rescued.
display by aliens for aliens for some reason. Like this happened.
A menage, it's like a zoo.
Yep, it happened to Captain Pike. There was another, I think it was an animated series or original series where it happened. It happened to Data when he was in the collection of Kivas Fejo. Yeah, it keeps happening.
Yes, well, technically Data's not human, but...
He's a Federation citizen.
Yeah, well, true.
Yeah.
But, I mean, specifically mentioned that it happens to humans, but...
Oh, yeah, that's true. And so whenever that happens, you just pick them up.
Whoever the nearest ship is like, they go like, oh, yeah, we'll send someone over in a few weeks' time, and then we'll take them away.
Yep. So Marriner flies them over nice and smoothly, which is to say she floors the shuttle, nearly crashes it.
Yes.
I don't want to die!
Was that nice and easy enough?
The inertial dampers completely fail to keep up with her piloting because Ensign Gary gets flung around the cabin a little bit.
He loses his lunch the wrong way around, and after he replicates some new pants, and Ransom compliments her on her...
That was some great piloting. Let's get to work.
Gritting those teeth.
We have forgotten the first scene where Boimler goes into his new quarters, though.
Oh, yes. Okay, so he walks into his new quarters and he's greeted by this insane suffusion of light.
Yeah.
The nacelle is right there?
Red glowing light from the nacelle, which...
All right.
Where do you think his quarters are?
Here comes my plasma vent.
Oh, nice. Well, let's be having you.
Okay, look at the nacelle, right?
Yes.
Look at the orientation of the windows. The orientation of the windows suggests that these quarters are on the saucer rim. because they're like, the room slopes up at the end. So it suggests that this room is on the underside of the saucer rim.
Yeah.
Therefore, there's no way that the nacelles can shine into that room at that angle.
Okay. I'm gonna throw up the shields. Apparently, well, no. Okay, super great at this. Let me see if I can actually do this. Because is there a place where this could be? Just maybe it could be on the inside of whatever. Like if that's not a phaser strip, yeah, it's hard to see, Kate, because I've drawn over the.
You mean the strut that holds the nacelle?
Just beside the strut, you see what could either be a phaser strip or an indentation. And if it's an indentation, then there could be a room on the inside.
I don't see what you're looking at.
I really don't stand much of a chance.
So that's about the only thing. The only thing I can I'm also wondering about is like the way those windows are drawn in this shot. It's like it looks like they'd have to be on the floor. And even then, it would still, even then, it would still not make any difference because the orientation of the windows is the wrong way around. Then the decks would have to be stacked from nose to stern rather than...
I'm just barely following you because I can see the hand gestures that you're making.
Right,
but
yes.
Yes, without the visual aids of the GIFs that we're looking at, although you can, if you're interested in these particular GIFs, you can find them.
I will definitely put a shot of those up in the...
Up on our Patreon.
Yes.
It's a little bonus for our subscribers. And hey, thank you very much, by the way, because a bunch of people have signed up for our Patreon, which has really, really been a fantastic help with our hosting and editing and the various things that we need. So thank you so much for keeping us running. And unfortunately, the same can't be said for young Bradward Boimler, who tries to convince himself that it's not so bad, but...
No, not the best view, but I'm sure I'll get used to it. Little Archer!
It takes him a moment to find his protective goggles against nacelle radiation, and just at that moment they go to warp, and the intensity picks up even more, and he basically gets his retina seared out.
Yeah, and he just goes to have his eyes replaced again. Who designed this?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's perfectly well designed, as we learn later, but never mind.
The away team are greeted by Narge, who refers to themselves in...
the third person, yeah.
With a full pronoun.
Oh, greetings! Narge is happy to welcome you to Narge's Miraculous Menagerarium. Recently voted one of the top 1,000 menageries in the quadrant.
A corn husk, I don't know, a little flower on top, maybe a courgette. Maybe it looks a bit like a courgette.
Because Narge describes themselves as a botanical being who has therefore trouble discerning non-botanical beings.
Right, yes.
Narge is perfectly pleasant.
Oh, yes.
So did
Narge's
you immediately
Miraculous Menagerium.
Something?
Oh, no, not really. Well, maybe a little bit. Like it might have been like a shoe might have been getting to drop. But, I mean, Narge isn't even...
Yeah, he's not too nice.
No.
Right, to be suspicious.
He's just a little bit alien, you know?
Yeah. And I like his... Like, he's got little glasses and a little vest. He's got this little sort of
he's
tweed
perfectly handsome owner who is clearly happy to show off his menagerium and profit from the amount of people that come to visit.
And it's magnificent, this environment. It's got this wraparound aquarium with some signage that probably says Narge's, what was it, Miraculous Menagerium?
Right, yes. I mean, I'm willing to give it that it is a classical zoo-type design, which is meant to put animals on display, not give them a good habitat.
Yeah.
It kind of vaguely looks like their habitat, but they're all basically just put in a way that they have no place to hide. They can be well viewed by the public and are in way too small enclosures.
Hey, Narge. What got you in the prison business, huh? Just a cruel weirdo who loves locking people up?
Yes.
It's the kind of zoo design that was popular, you know, from the
in the bad old days.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, this should have actually been a warp core.
Fair point. Yeah, now that you come to it.
Like, I'd completely glossed over that because, I mean, such is the way of lower decks. So much goes on. But yeah, this is not responsible animal care, even though, like, most zoos have zoos have partially a conservation responsibility, at least the zoos in the Netherlands. I'm sure it's the case in a lot of other countries. But so that means that I can no longer go and visit the capybaras in the Burgers Zoo because they dropped off the endangered species list. And therefore...
Yeah, so there's no conversion need for them anymore. So, yeah, they have to go... I guess they're not allowed to... What's the plan? I guess they just stop replacing them, and when they die out, they just don't...
maybe that was the case.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking so now. Like when it's off the endangered species list, does it go on the menu? That's a horrible thought.
Well, yes, I suppose.
I did. Hey, but at least there was this one year where they still had capybaras in this in the beautiful jungle sort of habitat, a large open space that's kept nice and toasty for animals who enjoy that. And it was very specific. Like the capybaras, for those who aren't familiar, are the best animal in the world. Like the just most beautiful design. These huge marmosets.
Yeah. That's a good
with little
description.
legs that float around, like their eyes and nose are really up high on their face, so they're just adorable.
And they're so chill. They're like the most chill animal there is, pretty much.
Totally. And they there are so many photos of them hanging out with various other animals because they just make friends all over, which is like due to their chillness, but that's also where their chillness ends.
Yes.
It's why they're terrible pets, because they love having you around, but then you have to be around or they freak the out.
Yes, they have terrible separation anxiety.
And that's why I understand that handlers, when they were still being conserved in these environments, they would wear different hats and masks just to prevent them from bonding with them.
Oh, wow, yeah, I can see that would be a problem.
And so you also shouldn't feed them. But just at that point, a very large leaf had fallen from an overhead tree, and I got to see these two capybaras sort of swimming chill in the water, and Lady and the tramping, the gigantic leaf between them, and just getting closer. It was so cute.
Speaking of cute, in one of the exhibits, there is this cute little...
The Moopsie is Narja's favorite.
Moopsie.
White thing. It kind of looks like a toasted...
roly-poly, like
kind of like a toasted marshmallow with a colon 3 face, 2 big black eyes.
So adorable.
Oh,
and it's
a Moopsie.
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 The Moopsie is Narja's favorite. And he says... Moopsie.
It does. It's like it's a Pokemon, so clearly.
A little bit.
I mean, it has to be. Like it says its name, or it's named after what it says. It kind of looks like a Pokemon. It's a Pokemon.
Yeah, all right. In an infinite universe, you're bound to bump into a few of those. Oh, there's so many things here to see. There's this creature that looks like a glowing sphere with 3 cobras coming out of it.
Yes.
That was a reference to, I think in the second episode that Q appeared. That's one of the shapes that he chose.
Yes.
Which might have been, an ancestral form of the Q. Oh, yes, there's a land eel, a carnivorous, desert-dwelling giant, sort of snake-like creature, who ate Ensign, I think his name was Hogan, whose bones were later found by the Voth in Distant Origin in Voyager.
Yes, I remember that. Well, I haven't seen that episode, but I remember the bones being found.
Yeah, because we discussed that one, Distant Origin.
Yes.
Thank you to...
It was one of the first episodes we did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thanks to Toledo for that recommendation. And there's a bunch of other stuff that I can't even recognize. Like, I think even the gobblers, I think that's a species from the animated series. Like, the Klingons had genetically engineered a predator for the Tribbles called gobblers.
Oh, yes.
Although these are Pyrethian gobblers who presumably come from the same planet as Dr. Flox's Pyrethian bat. Do you remember that he created that origami thing to chase him around? Okay, yeah, I know. Okay, when I ask these, just quickly, between you and me, everybody else go and make a cup of tea or something. Sometimes I ask you about these things, and it's really just an opportunity to remind the people at home. And so I know that you know, right? Because you're very smart and you pay attention, and I just want to make sure that everybody gets all the clues. Okay, so you can put come back. Audience, come back. How do you summon the audience back now that you've sent them away?
You usually come back from commercial break, but we don't do those.
Do you want to do a commercial break?
No, we don't put commercial breaks in between our content.
I know.
We're not on YouTube. I mean, actually, when we are on YouTube, does YouTube put in ads? I suppose they do.
Hey, yeah. Do they?
I don't know. I'm on a premium YouTube subscription, so I don't see ads.
I know. It's a life of luxury that we lead over here in the Joy of Trek studios.
Wait, we do? We live a life of luxury here? Maybe you guys do. I'm stuck in the war. I'm stuck in engineering. What's life like up there? Are you guys okay? I'm just it's quiet down here.
But hey, I've been wanting to do this. If we did do commercials, what would we do them for?
Oh, I mean, stuff that we would endorse. People who give us money to, endorse their product. That's how it works, isn't it?
Yeah. But we wouldn't accept just anything.
NordVPN, I guess, maybe, and
yeah, that's everybody does that.
I know, right? That's like,
I don't know. Is there a Tribble cereal?
Ooh, not that I'm aware of.
Well, that could be. Could be very crunchy. Maybe. We'll have to think about that.
I mean, I don't want a fluffy cereal, so it might be not a very good combination.
No.
A little with mini tribbles in it. No, I don't think that would be a very, very
fair enough. Well, we'll have a think about it sometime.
Right.
I'm just reminded, like, I went into this segment with the, I'm sorry, I just ran over you again, but I went into this segment with the confidence, hey, we can totally do this. We did a sort of creative improv podcast for about 2 years, and then I remembered, and we stopped that because it's so much f***ing work.
Very good, yes.
Okay, I promise I'm done now. I said I promise.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, Marriner's being very judgmental.
Yes, which is almost like a non-statement because she always is.
She has a point. She pretty much addresses the issue that we just did.
Do you imprison everything you like?
Of course.
Yeah, Narj kind of brushes past that. No, it's not a hobby. I love all these things.
Which is undoubtedly true, but and the adorable.
And I want them not to be in a place where they want to be. I want them to be in a place where I want them to be.
Marriner, it's not our place to judge the menagerie. We're just here to collect the humans.
No, you're here to collect humans. I'm here to be human, which means calling bullshit when I see it.
Back to Rutherford's quest to impress Commander Billups enough to give him a promotion in one day.
Rutherford and Tendi are on the engineering.
And I can't wait until we're at the same rank again, because then we can get back to praising people behind their backs. I think Boimler's going to be a great lieutenant.
Yes.
And he's really going to apply himself and get himself a promotion so that they can be friends again.
And he has no doubt that he can do that in one day. And Tendi is rightfully concerned for her friend's sanity.
Yeah, it's like, oh, come on, don't overwork yourself. Which is like nonsense to say to anybody on Starfleet because, overachievers.
Especially in engineering. And he goes up to Commander Billups very excitedly, saying that he's worked all year on a way to reduce the vibrations of the warp engine by 0.05. But then it turns out...
No, I mean, it can't be right, because a few minutes ago, Ensign Livick decreased the vibration by a factor of 0.06.
Ensign Livick, who's just arrived and is already getting high-fived. He's this golden child, little blonde bowl cut in the background.
They make eye contact and instant rivalry.
Livick!
Yeah, that snide look that Livick gives him, the very smug grin. And then Rutherford, we don't see him angry very often.
No, but he's definitely angry here.
Livick! He is livid at Livick. And he tries several more things, which all, are superseded by other achievements of Livick.
Livick!
So how does Livick do that? It's like, is he spying on Rutherford and trying to outdo him? Because whatever Rutherford works on, Livick already is doing or has done better than he has. So
I think he's doing the same thing.
He's looking out for the low-hanging fruit and trying to
he wants a one-day promotion, so he's looking for all these opportunities, and they're just they're very similar, I guess.
Because the next thing that he does is...
Commander Billups, you might want to sit down. I increased the power output of the Tucker tubes by 7 picocochrans.
Which is cool. I hope that's responsible with the fact that Livick managed to put 3 of them together instead of 2, which is like a 50% increase rather than a whatever 7 picocochrans is.
Without causing a Heisenberg
right.
Without triggering a Heisenberg collapse.
The best thing about it, this thing is one of those props that has been around.
I don't even know what this thing does.
And they finally get named Tucker Tubes.
Yes.
After a trip from Enterprise.
Yeah.
Hooray! No, these things have been everywhere. I think our chief... Oh, by the way, we haven't really relied on our chief at all.
We have not, no.
Hey, chief, how you doing out there?
Who put a room between 2 holodecks? I just want to sleep. I just want to sleep.
Cool. Anyway, can you remind us where we've seen these tubes before? Have you told us about that before?
Yes, so these tubes, everyone knows what these are. These are originally from the Incredible Hulk TV series with Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno, but then their first use in Star Trek was in Star Trek 2. They were there on Regala 1, and then we saw them again in the Enterprise A in Star Trek 5. We saw them repeatedly in TNG, so data lore, suddenly human, quality of life. We saw them in Voyager with Retrospect, Pathfinder, Inside Man. They were in Enterprise Cold Station 12. They're just everywhere. I love that they gave it an in-universe name. That's kind of fantastic for something that we know about. Because there's even William Shatner made a joke about the blinking tubes in Airplane 2, where he even says oh, what are these things even for? All they just need to do is just blink back and forth. So these things are everywhere.
Oh, they've been everywhere.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks. You can go back to what you were doing now.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm now sleeping in a Jeffries tube. Everything's gonna be okay. Unless someone clears static dampeners. Oh, no. Oh, please, someone knows gonna do that.
Oh.
Are we taking the chief for granted?
Sometimes
I worry about
we are
that.
a little bit, yes. But we try to get him to help us out. And
Yeah, we condescendingly try to make him feel useful.
And, well, no. I was going to say, like, make up for our lack in knowledge and excellence.
Yeah. And probably also, like, we have not looked into the temporal barrier that keeps us away. I mean, we keep meaning to, but that sort of time vortex, it's probably something that should be solved from our end, but, like, we have podcasts to do.
Yes.
So, sorry, Chief.
I mean, occasionally it works, but...
I like the design of this whole station from the outside because it's hovering over this planet and it looks like a spinning top.
It reminded me about a bit of the space station that the nasty guy from Firefly works in. You know, the station... Ishka.
I think that's who we're talking.
Nishka or Ishka, something like that. Nishka, yeah, that's... You know, the one who ends up
Yes.
torturing Mal and...
Yeah, the little
Wash.
mouse gentleman
well,
with the Balkan
he looks like it looks like he should be playing a Russian commander in a James Bond movie, I was going to say. But
yeah, fair enough.
Either that or someone from, what's her name again? Spectre.
Yes, I see what you mean. Also the kind of... it's kind of a knobbly shape with pointy bits. Mm-hmm. It looks like it's rotating, and on like the interior has this beautiful, like Yggdrasil tree in a containing
field.
field.
Yes, with this big snake type thingy swimming around it.
I wonder if that's the Halonian land eel.
Oh, maybe. I mean, it looks more like an air eel to me.
Oh yes, exactly. How do you say that actually? Because you've got a terrarium, you've got an aquarium, and then an arium?
Usually an aviary. No.
Well, that's because there's birds in it. Then it's an aviary.
Yes.
Or an apiary if there's butterflies.
Oh, yes.
Or bees?
Apiary would be a bee hive, yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Just testing you.
So an aviary, like, no.
That's birds.
Yes.
So I think an arium or an aeroarium.
Well, an arium is just an atrium. No, that's just...
No, atrium has to have a balcony.
I suppose.
What about mezzanine?
No, that's just a balcony.
That's a really overgrown balcony that dares to call itself a floor. What about a credenza?
I don't know what that is.
I don't know either. I've always wondered. I hear it sometimes. I imagine it's some kind of upside down veranda.
How about a crescendo?
Yeah, well, okay, fine.
Yes.
The humans have been located, and they're in this sort of Palm Beach environment that's been created for them.
Seem to be enjoying themselves there.
Entirely like unresponsive. They're not interacted with at all. They're dressed, I had some notes here that they're dressed in the same costumes as the children in Unnatural Selection from Enterprise during Pulaski's era. So maybe they're from there?
Danger.
Oh, the Moopsie is free!
Yes. And it's like it introduced with such a low-key energy. You just got this little roly-poly thing like outside the gobbler's enclosure going...
Exactly. It doesn't really seem to be all that well coordinated. It's got tiny little legs, does more rolling around than walking. But...
You don't understand! Everything here is incredibly dangerous!
Moopsie.
And Marriner is not buying that at all. Come on, he looks so adorable. Like, if you want to be scared of something, be scared of the swamp gobblers.
Yeah.
No, the swamp gobblers will only gobble you. Yeah. Moopsie will drink your bones.
Moopsie rolls in through a grating and pops out of the water in the gobbler's enclosure. Like, great security there, guys.
Yeah. This whole thing is a disaster.
And immediately jumps on first one and then the other gobbler and sucks out their bones.
Drinks their bones?
Yes.
How does something drink bones?
By sucking them out.
There's a little bit of sucking involved in drinking, yeah. How do you drink bones, do you think?
Ooh, usually...
You'd need some sort of solvent.
I mean, yes. I mean, I guess the only time that I do that is like... Well, basically you cook the bones for a very long time and then you discard the calcium part and then you end up with the gelatinous parts of the bones. And,
oh, yeah.
That works.
Still can't drink those, though.
That's called soup.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, no. I'm sorry. I was thinking about you can do it the other way around, where this was done in like biology classes, where discarded farm animal bones were
right,
used
and
to,
you put them in acid. You put them in acid, and then you after a while,
vinegar will do.
Yeah, and then after a while, you just get this like rubbery, bendy chicken bone,
and that's where we get chew toys for doggies.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know those bones with the knots in them.
Oh, okay.
That's just the calcium taken out, and
all right. cool. I thought they were fake bones or something. They were just like made like that.
Turns out real bones are cheaper to produce than fake bones because there's lots of bones from the meat-based food industry.
Yeah, that makes sense. Boimler is being helped to move in by...
Thanks for helping me get my new quarters, sir.
Happy to help, baby bear.
The Shacks, thank you.
Oh, yes.
And into his next room, which is... that's convenient.
Sorry, I was catching up.
That's conveniently close to the holodeck.
Yep. Oh, isn't it nice of him to
Very nice
to
of him,
help
yes.
out?
Help out as a new 3rd Lieutenant junior grade. And he had to be in that area anyway because he is off for a little holodeck adventure.
Which he's not super into.
No, he doesn't seem to be. It's like I get the feeling that he's like with your other half who wants to watch their particular favorite episode of their particular show for the umpteenth time. And I get a little bit of that feeling here.
Right.
Not something I have from personal experience, by the way, because we're drowning and stuff to watch. You don't have time to rewatch anything.
Oh,
but
yeah, totally.
I can imagine that kind of thing is that people want to have... They have their comfort episode, which they really want to watch again. And you're like, oh, man, we've seen that 17 times. We really have to watch it again. And I'm getting a little bit of that feeling here between Shax and... what's her name again?
Tana.
And it's like, yeah, I'm going to kill the sheriff.
You ready to get disgusting?
Has that ever stopped you before?
Like she's dressed.
She is so into it.
For a Robin Hood program.
Yeah.
Dressed in the outfit that Deanna wore during her time as a merry man.
Yes, and I guess she's holding the outfit that Worf wore in that same,
Sir, I protest. I am not a merry man.
Oh my God, yes. Yes. Dress him as a giant minstrel boy in a little crimson tights.
Yes. Sir, I am not a merry man. I think I've said that before on this podcast.
It's a very good quote, Kay.
Yeah.
And she asked him, you ready to get disgusting?
Yeah.
And he's, has that ever stopped you before? And just as Boimler is setting up his action figures of Spock and for some reason Mirror Archer.
Yeah. I mean, whatever he has his little eccentricities, his heroes.
And then he finds out that the walls to the holodecks are made of cardboard.
Yeah.
He hears poor Robin Hood being accosted by Tiana in the next holodeck over.
With me, my merry men, we must make haste to the castle to save the maid Marion.
Ow! What are you doing? Shut your face. I'm Robin Hood now. Toodly-doo.
Yes.
He tries to move his bed to the other side, and then he hears the captain's power fantasies.
Oh, was it the captain? I didn't recognize the voice, so...
And now that I'm president of the entire galaxy...
Federation.
Here's some freestyle scatting. Zoop-doop-ba-da-da-ba-ba-ba-da.
Now we know why Beverly's bed is in the middle of her room like that, because she's also...
She's wedged in between
two holodecks.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's miserable. Also, like a huge sort of privacy
issue, yeah.
Gap, like, oof.
So, yes, not a very good room for him either.
Don't make me arrow you! Stop that! Make me!
Meanwhile, on the space station, the crew is being chased by an adorable little Moopsie.
He's so slow.
Yeah.
They're running for their lives, but the little guy is so slow and so cheerful. Those eyes with the sort of blue uplighting. You even see through his eyes, and it's all sort of predator
rainbows
looking.
And yeah. Rainbow distortion. They manage to hide themselves in some sort of airlock or something, or behind a thick door at least.
So much for these new pants.
No weapons policy at a death trap zoo? F***ing genius.
Yeah.
It's a great line.
We have a little head-to-head between Marriner and the commander.
Yeah.
It's like, you've been gunning to demote me anyway. And he's like, what are you talking about?
What? The gym? You heard that?
Ha! You admit it!
All I meant is that you're not going to be my problem because I'm not going to take the bait with your insubordination.
I thought this was brilliant because while I think in the first season, Ransom was he was a punchline.
Yeah.
Right? He was a caricature of a character.
Yeah.
And now, like, increasingly...
Mostly Riker, I think.
Well, certainly. Which, like, she references because he hasn't always had her back.
I'm a good boss!
You stabbed me in the foot with a battle blade. You turned into a giant head and tried to eat me. You tried to trick me into messing up on that space elevator.
That was an orbital lift.
All of which, like, were, they're kind of different in context, but taken together, like, they've affected the trust that she has in her commanding officer.
Yeah.
And he has a really significant insight.
You've been promoted a dozen times, then you always get demoted for acting out.
Yeah, because I'm a free spirit.
No, because you're manipulating your commanding officers.
And she's like, she sputters a bit. She tries to like argue her way out of it.
But he's right, and she sees
he's totally right. Yes.
This is such a great thing that a good leader has the capability of doing, like recognizing these flaws and guiding people toward a solution for them. Like, because there's nothing vindictive about him ignoring all her jibes. It's not like trying to drive her insane.
No. It has that effect on her.
Right.
Because she's trying to get him riled up and it's not working, and which gets her even more and more anxious about it.
Her neurosis is like folding in on itself.
Yeah.
Sorry, not neurosis, but like a behavioral anti-pattern that he's able to like confront her with, and she's able to confront as well. Like, hey, actually, I have been.
Yeah, I mean, it comes in really well. It's like, well, what have you been doing all day? No, I was you. No, okay, well, that was just today. No, you always do. No, I don't. And he just like looks at her and shut up.
Yeah. Because she's smart enough to recognize when a point has been made.
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
I don't know. But I'm sorry to say, you still have my unwavering support, no matter how hard you make it.
And then she says, like, I didn't let Moopsie out because he suspected her of letting Moopsie out.
Yes, that's right.
To create an issue.
As part of her pattern of sabotage.
Don't quite get, because at that point they didn't know that Moopsie was dangerous yet, so it would have been merely a harmless prank.
Well, yeah, but that might have been the context in which she would have done it.
Yeah.
I don't think that she would have released a ravenous predator as part of her self-sabotage routine.
Very good point, yeah.
Which means that, who could then be responsible? And they all turn their attention on Narj. Hey.
Yes.
Plus, you're a tree. You probably don't even have bones.
Ridiculous! Narj is ossified. Narj...
We see proof because, the Moopsie has made it through the door.
Of course. Yet another, like, we have a big, heavy security door, and yet, like, you crawl through a little duct, and he gets dumped on. We see some frightening teeth on that tiny, cute little creature.
Yeah. It's horrifying, isn't it? But it makes the most adorable sound.
Moopsie.
And, Narj gets his bones sucked out.
Drank.
Whatever. You have to suck them out to drink them.
But it's cold. It's called a bone drinking Moopsie.
Right.
It is a delightful thing to say. Also, lots of things can suck bones, but only Moopsies can drink them.
If it can suck a bone, you can drink it. Well, depends on how you might. Yeah.
Hey, keep it PG-13.
Since when do we do that?
we make a token effort.
What token effort, Kagi? We have Starbase 69. We had a 2-minute long porn parody reading. What token effort, Kagi? I love you, but what token effort?
But yes, so goes poor Narj.
Yeah, and it turns out, unfortunately, I managed to lock the door behind him. Now it's trapped. No, it's not. It dropped in through the vent. It can get out through the same vent, but also it turns out it's on the central command of the space station.
Where, much like your pod kitty, Pip, it likes to walk over the keyboard.
You'd think that they have figured out how to detect for random animals walking across a keyboard input
in a menage,
especially when in the menage, especially when pressing 3 buttons can issue the command to deorbit the space station. Just saying,
bad luck. Which the Cerritos doesn't seem to notice.
No,
the Cerritos was within spitting distance initially in the same orbit.
Yeah, why didn't they beam aboard?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it came up, but there must have been something with the mineral.
I didn't hear anything. I don't recall hearing anything. I guess they needed a scene of her flying the shuttle in. Yeah.
Why? The transporter was famously originally invented to save costs, so you wouldn't have to build a shuttle on every set to show shuttle launches, and then transporters was just cheaper.
Yeah.
And just do it like that. And then sometimes you want to do it the other way because you want the excitement of
and then you have to think of a reason why the shuttle can't be, why the transporter can't be used. Yeah.
It's always going to be something.
Yes.
It's always going to be easy. It's
usually a polarizing ionized storm or something.
Yeah, or magnetite in the rocks and there's some reason why we can't do it. And
material 6,000 times denser than lead.
Right, there you go. And I don't love those. I'm so used to them. It's just filler text. Just
Pretty
skip
much,
it.
Yeah.
You want to show a shuttle scene, just show a shuttle scene.
Yeah, okay, I can get that. I mean, it's the same thing as like where, like in modern day shows, people have to. There has to be some sort of shots like, oh no, we're out of cell phone range because like we have a critical piece of information that we need to convey, and there needs to be a reason why we can't just call someone with that information.
Yeah,
it has so changed storytelling.
Things have gotten a bit better then, but yeah, it was very desperate in the early 2010s.
Yeah,
when they, ooh.
Like, we haven't figured out, like, how to tell stories yet when around mobile phones. Like,
it's worked out since then.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But Boimler has finally found a quiet place to bed himself down where he is undisturbed by light, by, voracious scenes on the holodeck, and he's in a Jeffries tube.
A nice, dark Jeffries tube where we can't hear anyone decapitate Peter Pan. This is much better than the bunks. Hey, Boimler!
Oh, I'm going to improve this or that by this many femtoseconds.
Oh, funny, there's another ensign here just doing the same thing.
Levick! A femtosecond improvement of, I think it was the replicators. Do you know what a femtosecond is?
It's like close to Planck length time,
Yeah, I think it's like a millionth of a microsecond or a millisecond. Like, a femtosecond is to a second. I looked this up. As a second is to like 37,000 years.
Okay. Well, if you can you improve by 7 femtoseconds between every molecule that gets put into place in the replicator, then you can.
Whoa! Yeah.
Then we're suddenly talking
a cumulative effect. Yeah,
of course it is. Yeah, it's like you're assuming that a replicator has to put them in one at a time. So if you can shave a few femtoseconds off between each molecule that's being deposited on the item that's being reproduced, you can get a significant improvement here.
Okay, look at you go.
There we go. And I didn't even have to press the shields up button.
No, someone is bucking for that Lieutenant Junior grade promotion. The Menage is about to crash,
quickly.
And Ensign Gary finally reveals why he's been here this whole episode, which is to confront Marriner and Ransom with the fact that, hey,
Hey, calm down!
You calm down! If you two hadn't been bickering, we wouldn't be falling into a planet!
You could have solved this critical situation if you weren't constantly distracted by your own shit, the lower deck story.
But Marriner tries to play distraction.
Yep, like sacrifice her life.
Or maybe just like draw away the Moopsie, allowing the commander to...
Quick time out. Is it Moopsie or the Moopsie? Discuss.
I don't know.
The Moopsie is Narja's favorite.
A Moopsie.
Oh, the Moopsie is free!
Should we just say Moopsie?
Moopsie.
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 Moopsie. Moopsie. It's such a fun thing. Hey, you at home, regardless of where you are, look, unless you're doing something really, really important, take a moment to just say it to yourself. Moopsie.
Moopsie.
It's fun to say, right?
But the commander has like, okay, I've got a plan.
Come on, as hard as you can. That thing wants bones? We'll give it bones.
Also, by the way, the little things that the Moopsie is doing in the background, just like being a window lick. This is very Lilo and Stitch like what we're seeing there.
Oh, yeah,
in
true.
The background. After the first tooth flies out, Marriner starts getting the idea and enthusiastically engages with her new duties as a junior lieutenant.
Yeah, as an amateur dentist. Because she mentioned that, we'd be able to stop this by the skin of our teeth, and that's what gives Ransom the idea.
Yes.
And so he's just there giggling and cackling and smiling while she's increasingly, devastating his jaw and accidentally landing some shiners on his face as well.
Yeah.
And, hey, guys, teeth are not bones. Teeth aren't bones.
Yes, they are.
Nope, they're not. They're their own thing. They're in they're enamel.
Well, no, that's the outer layer.
And the interior is also quite different. Yes, there's calcium in them.
Okay.
But they're not bones. It's a different material.
Who knows? Maybe they still count.
I mean, hair and nails are actually really, really similar.
Well,
right?
it's keratin. That's an entirely different material, isn't it?
Yes, but they're similar to each other.
Oh, yes.
They both had ancestral forms in the evolutionary chain, and they just sort of diverged. But teeth and bones do not. Also, I just had a little flashback to an image that I saw of an X-ray of a child's skull with...
Oh, God, yes, I know what you're talking about.
Who had their baby teeth, and also this whole cavern system with their grown-up teeth just waiting to be loaded up.
Unfortunately, I just thought about this too, Cocky, and then you had to mention it, and now I'm just uncomfortable because I hate that picture so much. Now it's just in my head. What have you done to me? What have you done to me? And now I'm going to be listening back to this and hearing this again and being upset. I'm upset with both of us now.
And definitely if you have, what's it called? Nyctophobia? There's a particular sensitivity.
Trypophobia.
Trypophobia. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Do not Google this.
Yeah, it's all right.
Let's move on for the people who are sensitive to that. Shouldn't have brought it up. Sorry in this horrifying episode. But yes, punch.
I should have been an outpost scientist.
Now we get to the resolution of Rutherford's
Yes.
arc, because he's got one more thing that he could, and you can see how he's got dark rings around his eyes. He's exhausted, and he's telling Tendi that he's got the thing that'll finally
Tendy's
work.
actually chasing after him like you've been working yourself crazy trying to get this promotion.
Yeah.
But now I have it.
But Billups won't hear.
Sure, whatever you did is great, Mr. Rutherford, but I'll have to wait until after the PIP ceremony.
Huh?
Because we're promoting Ensign Livick, who does that smug grin again.
Livick!
And Rutherford slumps in surrender, and he apologizes to Tendi. He says he feels sorry for letting her down, and letting all of his friends down, for not achieving the promotion and being able to go along with them.
Yep. And she is like, Rutherford, stand at attention.
We'll be friends no matter what our ranks are. We're going to spend tons of time hanging out and talking about science and telling jokes and, do all the things we used to do. And that's an order.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my gosh, I just gave my first order.
And they get to share that together as well. And when they hug, Rutherford says, "Oh,
man, now I wish I hadn't turned down all those promotions."
What the Rutherford? Because and he lists on his fingers all the times that he's been offered a promotion, and he declined that.
For saving the Cerritos from the Packlids and the Rubidoux from the space jellyfish, stuff like that.
And yet he declined them all because he wanted to stay with his friends.
Yeah.
And then Tendi says, "Well, can't you just ask for that?" And he goes, no, we're really serious in engineering. And before he can finish talking, she yells over his shoulder at Billups, who's holding a pip an inch away from Livick's neck.
Yes.
Hey, Billups! Can Rutherford have his promotion for that time you removed the hull?
Oh, sure.
Sorry, Livick.
Yeah.
Better luck next time. And tosses the pip with the same, they are capricious gods.
Yes. They are, hey, wait, I can ask for stuff I deserve? I was like, yes, of course.
Turns out.
And Livick is Rutherford. It's like, yes, instant animosity born.
Another nemesis, while everyone cheers on their new LTGJ Rutherford.
Yes. Moopsie is following the tooth crumb trail.
Yes, exactly. Oh, there's still blood on all of them, and it's just a piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy.
And lured back into its enclosure.
Yep, where Marriner jumps out and flips the little lid shut, which is apparently all that keeps this terrifying predator at bay. While Blanchard and Ensign Jerry have gone to the... Oh, sorry, now...
He is looking a bit worse for wear. He's got a shiner, he's got a bloody nose, he's got
Haha, we stabilized the station orbit.
He has the face of my granny who didn't put her teeth in. As a gag.
She was a little boy like that.
Marriner even calls him Gummy.
Yes.
As he explains that they've stabilized the orbit of the station and the day is saved.
I just wish we could have figured out how this little guy got out in the first place. I mean, it clearly wasn't Narj. Dude was brimming with bones.
But she notices that one of the panels in the background behind these humans is upside down.
Yes, and when the human leans back against it, Moopsie's hatch pops open again.
The f***? You let them out?
Yeah, turns out they noticed how profitable this installation was, and that they kind of set this whole thing up in order to kill Narj and take over the place themselves.
Yep.
So, as well and befitting punishment, the Cerritos? Yeah, Cerritos, yes. I want to say chorizo, but that's not it. The Cerritos...
You just had lunch.
A couple of hours ago.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
And I'm thinking about what we're going to have for dinner, so...
Bone soup?
Oh, I mean, I still have beef stock in the freezer, so yes.
Or you could do the Dutch interpretation, bonen soup, which is bean soup.
I know, right,
Nice.
yes.
Yeah.
And yes, they just decide to we're just going to leave them here and for the next ship to until in a few weeks' time.
Hey, that's fucking terrible.
Yes.
That just leaving people in
yes,
a jurisdiction beyond their an unmanned or an uncrewed space station, by the way, because nobody else is alive there.
Apparently, there's because in the next shot we see lots of alien guests coming there to visit the menagerie with little alien kid tapping the window of the human enclosure.
There's those fish people from The Next Generation in the first season really tried to do some like wacky alien designs, and then kind of gave up, and then Farscape showed them how
you really
done.
do that.
But this was one of those, I remember them coming on board and everybody was, ooh, these weird fish-headed people. And then Worf goes, what a handsome race. Which I always really loved. But yes, they abandon these humans to their horrible fate because, as Ransom points out, I guess humans really are the most dangerous game.
Yes, humans, we really are the worst.
Turns out,
yes, because we left them there. So he immediately proves his own statement. It's like humans killed Narj to take over the station. It's proving that humans are the worst, and to prove that humans are the worst, we left them there for another.
We're going to be the worst
Yeah,
at them. Yeah. Wow. There's a beautiful gif here, which is Tiana's grumpy face, and then a mirror slides up in front of her face, revealing the gleaming teeth of Ransom. Dr. Tiana was able to fix him up.
Dr. Teethana.
With a... Ooh! Okay, I like that.
Oh God, now I've got Dr. Teeth from the Muppet Show in my head.
Yes. Oh, Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem, wasn't it?
Yes,
yeah,
that's
the
correct,
fantastic band where many a drummer was inspired by Animal.
So yeah, don't eat any hard stuff for a few days until the enamel has set.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go kill the sheriff of Nottingham for being a little f***face.
And she runs off for another holodeck session.
Yeah. Well, I guess you got to come somehow. So we get a little denouement between Marriner and Ransom.
Okay, she apologizes for knocking all his teeth out and only using like 10 of them. And I'm just like, no, hang on. You don't punch out as many as you think you'll need.
Exactly.
And then halfway through the chase, realize that you actually needed a few more. So, and then have to go back to do some more punching.
So it was,
it was absolutely prudent that she...
There are better ways, but yes.
Well, yes. We already having established that this is a cartoonesque approach to Star Trek.
And like they find this common ground between them where he's actually a really good like leader and supervisor to her. You know, he considers himself responsible for her growth, and that means like refusing to let her sabotage herself.
Yeah, he said that's literally what he says. That it's like, yes, well, I'm going to have your back. I'm going to refuse to let you self-sabotage and how to come onto you.
Yeah, which is a really great thing for a leader to do, and that gives her the confidence to actually ease up because she does believe that someone's in her corner now.
Right.
I haven't always been the most supportive over the years, but at least now you know I'm definitely not going to let you self-sabotage anymore. So maybe we can cool it on the reign of terror.
And he says he has full confidence that she'll become a great officer, although it's really hard to look at him with the mouth that he's pulling.
So many teeth.
It seems like too many teeth and too big. He looks like Homer Simpson below the nose.
A little bit, yes.
You're going to be a great officer just like me.
Oh.
No.
Boimler and Rutherford are walking through the corridor because they've decided to take a joint room because now they get a bigger room because they share it with the two of them.
Yay!
So it's actually back to bunks rather than an actual bed which he had in his previous room. So I'm not sure if that is much of an improvement. And oh no, this room also has a full view of the warp cell.
Stupid bizarre light.
And Rutherford's like, oh, okay, well, we'll just try to dim the windows a little bit and
beep boop boop.
And you see the expression on Boimler's face. It's like, you can do that. It's like.
This face we see on Bradward Boimler so often when he realizes that
he's outwitted himself again.
Yes, exactly. All the petards he was hoisted by were his own.
Yeah.
Oh, we see Rutherford's stuff. He's got a little bottle of DS9 in his box.
Yes. I thought it was in... Oh, no, that was a different thing, yeah.
And he's tinkering with a little device that turns out to be the same prop that was the mini tractor beam that Ensign Crusher was working on in The Next Generation. Like, Lower Decks is made with such love and reverence. And like, ooh, what can we pilfer from wherever?
Yeah, we just need a little thing. And yeah, just like if you see any sparks, I'm working on these things pretty late. So if you see any sparks, then just like chunk him out, and he gets hit by a spark and immediately bangs his head against the ceiling, and there's a new Denty.
There's Denty, and it's already starting to feel like home.
Yes.
Oh, you know, I know that this is like the writers are manipulating us and like pulling on our heartstrings, but I genuinely love it.
Well, yeah.
Which is not hard to believe for me. I know. Okay.
It's like colony surprised.
Cocky loves everything. Yes, but also, like, I don't always love to be manipulated. And sometimes, like, writers can take shortcuts that I don't approve of. And certainly, yeah, when stories turn so self-referential that it becomes almost more of a challenge to outwit the audience rather than to tell a truly great story.
Yes.
But I don't feel that here at all.
I mean, ideally, a good story should have, when the great reveal is given, then all the clues that were laid out in the past should fall into place, And if you're clever, then you already figured it out.
Yeah,
but
it should be surprising but completely logical.
Yeah, exactly.
But we live in an age where the internet exists, and so every idea that someone has had can filter into every fan's consciousness through, the Reddit recommendation algorithm is very effective at surfacing things of interest. And so you can no longer count on only a minority of your audience figuring something out.
Yes, good point. So, I think we have...
Oh, yes. We've reached the end of the... No,
you need to go push a button.
We have a bunch of... we have this one.
Yes.
No, it didn't blast out my eardrums this time.
Oh, that's fine. Sounded to me. Okay, so let's see. Who's our MVP?
Oh, yes. Hey, Kay, who do you think was...
So fucking cool.
I nailed it on the timing. Really proud of myself.
That sounded like...
That's Tilly from Discovery.
Wait. Come again?
Ensign Tilly from Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, okay.
She says that you guys, this is...
So fucking cool.
Almost got the timing right.
What's this?
I just had a little sound effect that I added because we talk about, like, who's the MVP? Who did you...
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
you didn't...
Oh, sorry.
I said, like, I ask who's your MVP, and you go, like, here, let me play you a sound effect, and, like...
Okay. Apparently, I didn't get the timing right as well as I thought. Because here's what I said. Hey, Kay, who did you think was...
So fucking cool.
There we go.
Now I get it. Right. Yes. Okay. Sorry, we are still working out how to do this show. We're very professional.
And we will... This is episode, 30 or whatever. We will continue to do so until the heat death of the universe.
Or we run out of Star Trek. Let's see. Okay, who is... I think it goes to Random.
Ransom.
Ransom. That's the one.
Oh, very
I think
good.
I think he is the MVP in this episode. He called it school. He knows cotton onto Marriner. He knows what he needs to do as a good officer. And I figure his plan was just to just see what was going on and just let her play her bullshit for a little while and show her that it wouldn't work. I still don't quite understand why he said that soon she wouldn't be his problem anymore.
Yeah, that's a bit of a contrivance. Yeah, that's okay.
From the way he acts, he's clearly on a mission to first let it come to the peak that it did, and then just call her out on her bullshit.
He did really, really well.
So I'd say yes, Ransom is.
But you're wrong because the MVP is Moopsie. It's Moopsie, Kay. There's an army of loyal and beloved listeners out there yelling into their headphones that you got it wrong. Okay. You had the chance to select. You had this really good reason, and of course there are no wrong answers except for any answer that isn't Moopsie. Because the fan campaign for a plush Moopsie before Christmas was louder than Baby Yoda almost.
Oh,
no,
well,
not quite.
Kind of almost got one right there.
Oh my God! God, my bones! What is this thing? Actually,
it's just a cat, but it's kind of
this is an adorable kind of it looks like one of the turnips from Super Mario 2 or 3.
Bit, yeah.
Oh, it's got a little. Oh, yeah, that's actually really
without the grey patches, it could almost be a Moopsie.
So one of these plush Moopsies made it into the hands of a diabolical genius and friend of the show, Mark Nixon, who sent me a video of the back of his couch with no context, and then this little plush creature sort of pops, turns towards the camera and goes Moopsie.
Nice.
And your cat just activated when I said that. So
that's good. We're almost at the end of the episode.
Well, we do need.
Captain's log, supplementary.
Yeah.
Ooh, yes.
Our deleted scenes. What do you imagine happens but was cut for time?
Oh, well, let's see. I mean, there could have been a shot of, more aliens but from different franchises, a Predator hanging in one of the enclosures or an E.T. or something like that.
To just continue the list.
I suppose, yeah.
Oh, whoa.
Just bring them in from other franchises.
Yeah. And just go progressively more insane. Like this is an episode of Too Many Cooks, where every time that you...
Q could have been...
Oh, wow. Every time you think you figured out the pattern, like a new escalation takes place.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Anything else? Do you have one?
Yeah. I think that this is actually kind of horrifying, but also wholesome. There was a long line of fellow officers outside of sickbay, where everyone who was off duty for a few hours came in to donate one of their teeth for transplantation.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yes.
And they all got measured.
Oh, hierarchy, like finding the best.
In order to,
Everybody gets a scan of their dentures, or not the dentures, their
actual teeth.
Their actual teeth. And then we like, from the entire crew, we just like pick together which one are the best.
And that's why they all look the same size, because they picked them for uniformity.
Oh,
I mean, hey, who doesn't have some spare teeth? I've got some spare teeth.
Well, I don't.
I mean, my wisdom teeth didn't come through and they kind of rotated.
Mine aren't there.
And so, like, removing them would run the risk of permanently losing all sensation in half of a lip.
Yeah, that would not be a good thing.
Which, would be subideal. I mean, people deal with it.
Okay, so I've got my...
hit me.
It's actually not a shot for when Boimler, when he's in his room between the two holodecks.
Oh, no.
And the last thing that he hears is someone walking into the holodeck and saying, "Computer, run program Barclay 25.
No. Oh, God, that would be... He's actually served with Commander Troy at this point on the Titan. Oh, that's terrible. Sick reference, though, bro.
Thank you.
Well done. All right. Then, okay, moving swiftly along from that horror, how about we go and find out which episode we're going to be discussing next week?
Excellent, yes, bring it.
Let's see what our chief has selected for us, which, as always, he's dropped us a tooth crumb trail of clues.
Which will lead us to next week's episode.
Starting with...
He is not very attractive, but I will have him.
Oh, that sounds vaguely familiar, but I always say that.
That sounds like a Klingon woman.
I know, right?
I've never heard of a Klingon starving to death on his own vessel, but you might.
Ooh.
I've never heard of a Klingon...
Of a Klingon starving to death on his own ship, but you might.
Huh.
Okay.
So I ask you again, Commander Riker, where are your loyalties?
Oh, yeah, it's the exchange program. It's the exchange program where they do officer swapsies.
Yes.
Let's see if the Klingon food is too strong for you. Perhaps we could get one of the females to breastfeed.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's exactly
one more.
Enterprise, this is Captain William Riker of the Klingon ship Pa. I order you to lower your shields and surrender.
Yeah, come on.
I don't know what it's called, but it's definitely the Next Generation episode where they do the...
I don't even know what it's called.
Yeah.
Ooh, let's find out.
All right, tell us, Chief.
The episode is Next Generation, Season 2, Episode 8, A Matter of Honor.
Yes, that's right. I think that one was recommended to us by Rugger. It was an early recommendation. Really, really excited to see this one.
Yeah.
So
looking forward to it. Thank you very much for that.
And...
The hell is this?
I'm leaving Starfleet.
Energize!
We hope you've enjoyed this week's episode with friends Kay and Kaki, production and editing by your chief engineer Greg, and music by Fox Amor. Join us next time for Matter of Honor, The Next Generation, Season 2, Episode 8. Visit droidtrek.com/links to send us your recommendations, support us on Patreon, or to find us on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for listening to The Joy of Trek, and we'll see you out there.